Every man knows the sting of being overlooked. You put in the effort, you check every box, kindness, reliability, respect, but she still doesn't pick you. Worse, she chooses someone who, on the surface, seems to offer less. That sting isn't just rejection. It's the slow erosion of your confidence, your time, your self-worth. But here's the truth no one tells you. She's not choosing randomly, and she's not lying when she calls you a good guy. She's following instincts carved deep into her biology, instincts that decide who gets chosen and who gets ignored. Stay with me, because once you crack the hidden code behind her choices, you'll never see rejection the same way again. Before we dive in, let's make this interactive. If you've ever felt overlooked by women, hit subscribe, give this video a like, and drop a comment below. Yes or no? Have you felt this yourself? Don't hold back, because in just a moment, I'm going to break down an experiment that reveals exactly why this happens, and it's not what most men think. The allure of alpha men, as seen through the lens of evolutionary psychology, is not a superficial trend but a deeply rooted phenomenon that traces back to the dawn of human existence. To understand why women are drawn to alpha men, those embodying dominance, confidence, and resourcefulness, we must rewind to the harsh realities of our ancestral past. In prehistoric times, survival was not guaranteed. The environment was unforgiving, filled with physical dangers like predators, rival tribes, and scarce resources. For a woman, choosing a mate was not merely a matter of personal preference, but a decision that could determine the survival of herself and her offspring. This is where the alpha male archetype emerged as a beacon of security and genetic advantage. Alpha men, in the evolutionary context, were those who stood out as leaders within their groups. They were not necessarily the loudest or most aggressive, but they possessed traits that signaled their ability to navigate and conquer challenges. Dominance, in this sense, was less about brute force and more about the ability to assert influence, make decisions under pressure, and secure resources like food, shelter, or territory. These men were often the ones who could protect their group from external threats, whether that meant fending off a saber-toothed cat or negotiating alliances with neighboring tribes. Their confidence was not just a personality trait, but a visible marker of competence, a signal that they could handle whatever the world threw at them. For women, whose role in reproduction required significant energy and vulnerability, pregnancy, childbirth, and child-rearing demanded immense resources. The choice of a mate was critical. A partner who could provide protection and provisions increased the likelihood that both the mother and her children would survive. Alpha men, with their ability to lead and procure resources, were the safest bet. This wasn't about romantic ideals. It was about raw survival. A man who could secure a steady supply of food or defend against threats offered a tangible advantage, ensuring that the woman's offspring had a better chance of reaching adulthood and passing on their genes. This preference for alpha traits is not a relic of the past, but a lingering instinct embedded in human psychology. Modern women, living in a world of relative safety and abundance, still carry these evolutionary instincts. The brain's wiring, shaped over millennia, continues to respond to signals of strength and leadership. When a woman encounters a man who exudes confidence, decisiveness, and the ability to take charge, her subconscious registers these traits as markers of a high-quality mate. It's not that women are consciously calculating survival odds in the modern dating scene, but the emotional and psychological pull toward these traits remains potent. A man who walks with purpose, speaks with authority, and carries himself with assurance triggers the same instincts that once helped our ancestors choose partners who could ensure survival. This evolutionary framework also explains why alpha men often overshadow others. Men who lack these dominant traits, those who hesitate, defer, or fail to project strength, simply don't register as strongly on the radar of attraction. It's not that these men lack value. Many possess qualities like kindness, intelligence, or loyalty that are critical for long-term partnerships. However, in the initial stages of attraction, the alpha's bold presence captures attention more effectively. Evolution has prioritized traits that signal immediate strength and capability, even if those traits don't always translate to modern relationship success. The alpha's ability to stand out in a crowd, to lead rather than follow, taps into a primal instinct that has been honed over countless generations. The science backs this up. Studies in evolutionary psychology, such as those by researchers like David Buss, highlight how mate preferences are shaped by survival needs. Women across cultures consistently show a preference for men with traits associated with dominance and resource acquisition, traits that align with the alpha archetype. These preferences persist even in modern societies where survival pressures are diminished, suggesting that our evolutionary wiring is slow to change. The alpha male's appeal is not a cultural fad, but a biological legacy, one that continues to influence attraction in ways we might not even consciously recognize. The magnetic pull of alpha men in social settings is no accident. It's a product of intricate social dynamics that have shaped human interactions for millennia. Alpha men, characterized by their leadership, charisma, and commanding presence, naturally rise to the forefront in any group, making them almost impossible to ignore. This phenomenon isn't just about personality. It's about how humans are wired to navigate hierarchies and respond to cues of influence and authority. Women, in particular, are drawn to these men because their prominence in social environments signals traits that resonate on both a primal and practical level, often eclipsing others who don't project the same energy. In any social group, whether it's a modern workplace, a social gathering, or an ancient tribe, a hierarchy forms almost instinctively. Humans are inherently social creatures, and we organize ourselves into structures where some individuals hold more influence than others. Alpha men excel in these environments because they embody traits that elevate their status. They're not just confident, they project an aura of control, often through subtle cues like strong eye contact, purposeful body language, or a calm, authoritative tone. These signals communicate that they're not just part of the group, they're leading it, whether overtly or subtly. This leadership doesn't always mean barking orders. It can be as simple as being the one who sets the tone, initiates action, or draws others into their orbit. Women notice this dynamic acutely. In social settings where first impressions are often formed in seconds, alpha men stand out because they seem to command the room. Psychological studies, such as those exploring nonverbal communication, show that people who exhibit dominant behaviors, like taking up space, maintaining steady eye contact, or speaking with conviction, are perceived as more attractive and influential. For women, this perception taps into an instinctual recognition of a man who can navigate and thrive in competitive social landscapes. Historically, a man's ability to hold a high position in the group meant access to resources, protection, and alliances, all of which translated to better outcomes for a woman and her potential offspring. Charisma plays a massive role in this equation. Alpha men often have a knack for engaging others, whether through storytelling, humor, or a quiet intensity that draws people in. This isn't just charm for charm's sake. It's a form of social power. A charismatic alpha can rally a group, resolve conflicts, or steer conversations, making them the focal point of any interaction. Women are naturally drawn to this because it signals not just social savvy, but also the ability to influence outcomes. In evolutionary terms, a man who could sway others was a man who could secure advantages, whether that meant negotiating for resources or ensuring the group's loyalty. Today, that translates to a man who can network, inspire, or simply hold court at a party. This social dominance often overshadows men who don't project these traits. Those who are quieter, more reserved, or less assertive tend to blend into the background, not because they lack value, but because they don't command the same immediate attention. In a crowded bar, a boardroom, or even a casual friend group, the alpha's ability to take charge, whether through bold decisions or effortless charisma, makes them the default choice for attraction. It's not that women overlook other men intentionally. It's that the alpha's presence is louder, more immediate, and more aligned with instinctive cues of strength and capability. The modern world amplifies this dynamic. Social media, for instance, rewards alpha traits. Think of the influencers or leaders who dominate platforms with their confidence and charisma. Even in everyday life, the man who can walk into a room and instantly shift the energy is the one who gets noticed. This isn't about fairness. It's about how social dynamics reward those who project power and presence. While quieter men may excel in depth, loyalty, or intellect, those traits take time to shine. And in the fast-paced game of attraction, time is a luxury. The alpha's ability to stand out in the moment gives them an edge that's hard to overcome. The attraction women feel toward alpha men often stems from a profound, often subconscious desire for emotional security, a force rooted in both evolutionary instincts and modern psychological needs. Alpha men, with their hallmarks of confidence, decisiveness, and unyielding presence project an aura of stability that resonates deeply in a world that can feel unpredictable and chaotic. This sense of security is not merely about physical protection, though that plays a role. It's about the emotional anchor these men provide, a quality that sets them apart and often leaves others overlooked in the realm of attraction. To understand this, we must explore how emotional security influences mate selection and why alpha men so effectively fulfill this need. At its core, emotional security is about trust in a partner's ability to navigate life's uncertainties. In evolutionary terms, the world was a perilous place. Threats like famine, predators, or rival groups were constant. A woman needed a partner who could not only survive these challenges, but also provide a sense of certainty amidst the chaos. Alpha men, with their ability to take charge and make swift, confident decisions, signaled that they could handle crises without buckling. This decisiveness wasn't just practical. It offered a psychological refuge, a feeling that someone capable was in control. For a woman raising children in such a world, this was invaluable. Knowing her partner could act decisively meant her family was more likely to thrive. In modern times, the threats have changed, but the need for emotional security remains. Life today brings its own uncertainties, career pressures, financial instability, or the complexities of relationships. An alpha man's confidence translates into a sense of reliability, a belief that he can weather these storms. When he speaks with assurance or takes the lead in a crisis, it creates a ripple effect, calming those around him. Women, whether consciously or not, are drawn to this. It's not about needing someone to save them. It's about the comfort of partnering with someone who seems unshaken by life's turbulence. This stability is a quiet but powerful force, often outweighing traits like kindness or humor in the initial stages of attraction. Confidence, a defining trait of alpha men, is central to this dynamic. Psychological research, such as studies on mate preferences by evolutionary psychologists like David Buss, shows that women across cultures prioritize confidence in partners. A man who carries himself with certainty, through steady eye contact, purposeful gestures, or a calm demeanor, signals that he's not easily rattled. This is more than just charisma. It's a promise of emotional resilience. When an alpha man makes a decision, whether it's choosing a restaurant or tackling a major life choice, his decisiveness reassures those around him. For women, this translates to a sense of safety, a feeling that they're with someone who won't falter when the going gets tough. This contrasts sharply with men who, while often possessing admirable qualities, don't project the same strength. The nice guy archetype, empathetic, supportive, or introspective, may excel in long-term relationship traits, but these qualities often take time to appreciate. In the fast-paced world of attraction, where first impressions dominate, hesitation or self-doubt can be a silent killer. A man who overthinks, seeks constant validation, or shies away from leadership doesn't inspire the same confidence. It's not that women don't value kindness or depth. It's that these traits don't immediately signal the ability to provide emotional stability in high-pressure moments. The alpha's bold presence, by contrast, is immediate and unmistakable. Another layer to this is the alpha man's ability to balance strength with emotional intelligence. The modern alpha isn't a stoic, unfeeling figure. He's someone who can lead while still being attuned to others' needs. This combination is potent. Strength without empathy can feel cold, but an alpha who can navigate emotions while maintaining control is a rare find. For example, a man who can diffuse a tense situation with a mix of authority and understanding offers a sense of security that's both practical and emotional. Women are drawn to this because it suggests a partner who can handle life's complexities without losing their cool or dismissing others' feelings. Social dynamics amplify this effect. In group settings, alpha men often take the lead, whether organizing an event or steering a conversation. This leadership reinforces their role as an emotional anchor, not just for a partner but for the entire group. Women observe this and, on a subconscious level, register it as evidence of reliability. A man who can hold a group together under pressure is likely to do the same in a relationship. This is why quieter men, who may be equally capable but less assertive, often get overlooked. They don't broadcast the same signals of stability in the moment. The evolutionary roots of this preference are clear, but culture plays a role too. Media, from movies to social platforms, often glorifies the confident, decisive man. Think of the archetypal hero who saves the day with a cool head. These images reinforce the idea that alpha traits equal security. While modern women are independent and capable, the psychological pull of a partner who exudes strength remains strong. It's not about dependency. It's about the human desire for a partner who feels like a safe harbor in a stormy world. The alpha man, with his ability to project control and resilience, fulfills this need in a way that's hard to ignore. The appeal of alpha men to women is deeply tied to their perceived status and access to resources, a dynamic rooted in evolutionary biology and amplified by social structures. Alpha men are often seen as high-status individuals who command influence, whether through wealth, social connections, or sheer presence, making them stand out as desirable partners. This isn't about superficial gold digging. It's about a primal instinct that associates status with the ability to provide security and opportunities, both historically and in modern contexts. Understanding why women gravitate toward these men requires unpacking how status and resources shape attraction, and why those without this prominence often fade into the background. In evolutionary terms, resources were a matter of life and death. Thousands of years ago, a man's ability to secure food, shelter, or protection directly impacted the survival of his partner and offspring. Alpha men, often the leaders or most capable members of their groups, were best positioned to deliver these necessities. They might have been the skilled hunters who brought back the largest kills, or the strategists who ensured the tribe's safety. For women, choosing a mate with access to resources wasn't just practical, it was a survival strategy. A high-status man meant a better chance of thriving in a harsh world, as his influence often translated to tangible benefits like food, safety, or alliances. Fast forward to today, and while survival isn't at stake in the same way, the psychological wiring remains. Status and resources still signal a man's ability to provide a better quality of life. An alpha man's high status, whether he's a successful entrepreneur, a charismatic leader, or simply someone who commands respect in his circle, suggests he has the means to navigate the modern world effectively. This could mean financial stability, access to networks, or the ability to open doors that others can't. Women, consciously or subconsciously, are drawn to this because it implies a partner who can enhance their life, whether through material comfort or social advantages. Psychological studies, such as those by evolutionary researchers, consistently show that women across cultures prioritize traits linked to resource access, like ambition or social dominance, in potential partners. Status isn't just about money. It's about the power to influence outcomes. Alpha men often exude this through their confidence, decisiveness, or ability to lead. In a boardroom, a social gathering, or even a casual group, they're the ones others look to for direction. This social capital is attractive because it signals a man who can get things done, whether that's securing a deal, rallying a team, or solving a problem. Women notice this, as it suggests a partner who can handle life's complexities and provide stability. In contrast, men who don't project this level of influence often go unnoticed, not because they lack value, but because they don't trigger the same instinctive attraction in high-stakes moments. The modern world adds layers to this dynamic. Social media and cultural narratives amplify the allure of high-status men, from CEOs to influencers who project success. These platforms showcase alpha men as the ones who have it all: wealth, charisma, and influence, reinforcing their desirability. Even in everyday life, the man who walks with purpose, commands attention, or seems unfazed by challenges stands out. This isn't about women being shallow. It's about a subconscious calculation that links status to security and opportunity. A man who appears to have his life together is more likely to be seen as a reliable partner, capable of contributing to a shared future. Meanwhile, men who don't display these alpha traits, those who are less assertive, less visible, or less connected, often struggle to compete in the attraction game. Their qualities, like loyalty or kindness, are valuable, but take time to shine. In the fast-paced arena of initial attraction, the alpha's immediate signals of status and resourcefulness dominate. This isn't to say women only care about wealth or power. Rather, the perception of a man who can navigate and influence the world carries a weight that's hard to ignore, rooted in instincts that have shaped human behavior for millennia. The phenomenon of women gravitating toward alpha men often leaves other men, those who don't exude dominance, charisma, or immediate confidence, in the shadows. Their valuable traits frequently overlooked in the initial stages of attraction. These men, often characterized by qualities like empathy, loyalty, or introspection, possess attributes that are essential for long-term relationship success, but fail to capture the same primal attention that alpha men command. This dynamic isn't about women dismissing these men out of malice or shallowness. It's about the psychology of attraction, where immediate, bold signals often outshine subtler virtues in the fast-paced arena of mate selection. To understand why these men get overlooked, we must explore the interplay of evolutionary instincts, social dynamics, and the timing of attraction. From an evolutionary perspective, attraction is heavily weighted toward traits that signal immediate survival advantages. Alpha men, with their confidence, decisiveness, and social dominance, project qualities that historically ensured protection and resources. These traits are like bright beacons, easy to spot and hard to ignore. In contrast, traits like kindness, emotional intelligence, or steadfast loyalty, while critical for nurturing relationships, don't carry the same instant visibility. A man who listens attentively or offers unwavering support is invaluable over time, but in a crowded social setting, these qualities don't command attention the way a bold, assertive presence does. Evolution has primed humans to prioritize traits that scream capability in high-stakes moments, and quieter virtues often take a back seat in those crucial first impressions. Social dynamics further amplify this disparity. In group settings, whether a party, workplace, or casual gathering, alpha men naturally draw eyes. Their ability to lead conversations, take charge, or project charisma makes them the focal point. Meanwhile, men who are more reserved or less assertive blend into the background. It's not that they lack worth. Their strengths, like patience or thoughtfulness, often require time and context to shine. For example, a man who offers deep emotional support or a nuanced perspective might be a phenomenal partner. But these traits don't spark the same visceral reaction as an alpha's commanding energy. Women, responding to instinctive cues, are drawn to the man who stands out in the moment, even if the quieter man's qualities would prove more enduring in a relationship. Psychologically, this is tied to how attraction operates on a subconscious level. Studies such as those in evolutionary psychology show that women are drawn to signals of dominance and resourcefulness because they historically correlated with better outcomes for survival and reproduction. Traits like empathy or loyalty, while universally valued in long-term partnerships, don't trigger the same immediate attraction because they're less tied to those primal needs. A man who hesitates to take the lead or doesn't project confidence may be seen as less capable in a split-second judgment, even if his character is exceptional. This isn't about women being unfair. It's about the brain's bias toward traits that signal strength in high-pressure scenarios. The modern dating landscape compounds this challenge. In environments like online dating or social media, where first impressions are formed in seconds, alpha traits, bold profiles, confident photos, or witty, assertive messages stand out. Men who don't naturally project these qualities struggle to compete in this fast-paced arena. Their strengths, like consistency or emotional depth, require time to be appreciated. But the modern world often doesn't afford that luxury. A man who is kind but reserved might be overlooked for someone who radiates immediate charisma, even if the latter's charm fades over time. Cultural narratives also play a role. Media often glorifies the alpha archetype, the confident leader, the decisive hero, while quieter men are relegated to supporting roles. This reinforces the idea that alpha traits are the gold standard for attraction, sidelining men who don't fit that mold. Yet, these overlooked men often possess the qualities that sustain relationships: reliability, compassion, and a willingness to grow. The tragedy is that these traits, while deeply valuable, don't always get the chance to shine in the fleeting moments where attraction is born.